Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. So, I could get into all types of numbers last night. I could get into all the things that Milwaukee did great, about how they out-rebounded Phoenix 53 to 37, including 11 to 6 on the offensive backboard, how they just dominated them, how they guarded the three-point line, holding Devin Booker and Jay Crowder to 2 for 11 from the three, including Book going 0 for 7. I could talk about the job that Drew Holiday did on Book, making it difficult on him, making him go 8 for 22 from the floor and making every single shot he took tough. Not giving him one single look that was clean, making it tough on him. I could talk about the job that Giannis did on DeAndre Ayton, where he was holding him to 12 points and not letting him get to spots underneath the basket and not letting him dominate. I can talk about how they slowed down their fast break yesterday. Phoenix didn't have, I think they had 0 points in the fast break yesterday. No transition points. I can talk about that stuff. I can talk about how Bobby Portis came off the bench and how huge he was. When in the beginning of the series, I was preaching, I was screaming to the heavens, Bobby Portis needs to be on the floor. I can talk about their bench. I can talk about Milwaukee's bench and how important they were. And how Coach Bud shortened the rotation with the bench and decided to only go with 8 guys. And it worked. But ultimately, this came down to one thing and one thing only. Giannis Antetokounmpo. When you have an elite player and you can go to him and say, in order for us to win tonight, we don't need you to be good. We don't need you to be great. We need you to win it. And he goes, I'll do it. I'll do it. Which is exactly what Giannis did last night. Now, I hear people saying to me, it was a fluke, and when was the last time Giannis went 17 for 19 from the stripe? Giannis was knocking down the mid-range. He was incredible in transition. That's what big-time players do in big-time games, though. Giannis clearly looked like the best player on the floor, and it wasn't close. He was the difference in what they were doing last night. In fact, he's the difference in this series. Book cancels out Drew Holiday. Not just last night. Book cancels out Middleton. Not just last night. Chris Paul, offensively, could cancel out Drew Holiday. They don't have anybody like Giannis. That was the difference. They didn't have anybody who could stop Giannis in transition. They didn't have anybody who could slow down Giannis in the post. They didn't have anybody to contend with him defensively. They didn't have anybody offensively who could contend with Giannis defensively. Nobody. They sent double teams at him. They sent triple teams at him. And it didn't work. Giannis was who he was last night, which is great. He did everything that he needed to do in order for them not to have a chance to win. Because it became apparent early to me that he's going to need 50 in order for them to win tonight. Because I saw what Drew Holiday was doing, but with what Drew Holiday was doing offensively, we got thrown off the track of what he brought to the table and how much of an effort he gave on both sides of the basketball. No, he wasn't very efficient last night. I mean, if you only look at the numbers, he almost had a triple-double where he went 12, 11, and 9. Yeah, he almost had a triple-double, but at the half, he was 1 for 11. Okay, I understand that. No problem. But I also understand that he held Devin Booker to 0 for 7 on the long ball 8 for 22. He did a great job on him. A great job on him. And he was crucial for what they were doing, not just in their transition game, but defensively. He was huge for them. Now, Middleton was solid last night. But Middleton looked to me like a guy who recognized that Giannis is taking us home. I'll do what I need to do, but for the most part, I'm going to stay out of the way. Kind of like Scottie Pippen when Jordan would get going. I'll get involved when I need to, but for the most part, this is his night. And the best thing for me to do is just stay out of the way. That's the best thing for me to do. And he did that. And he made some big shots at the end. But he wasn't, not only was he not terrible, he was solid last night. And it was obvious which way they were going. It was obvious which way they were going in order to win. And that was going to Giannis. And that was going to Giannis often and on the regular. So, what happens now with Phoenix? Because we got an older point guard who Chris Paul was able to hold up. And he actually looked really good last night. He looked really good last night in their half-court offense. He looked really good last night. He looked good in the mid-range. He knocked down a 3-ball. I think he only took 3 of them. Cameron Payne came in and gave them a huge lift. So where do they go from here? DeAndre Ayton got to get better. He has to. He's got to get tougher. He's got to get stronger. He's got to get better because now you guys are a legit contender. You got to prove that this wasn't a fluke, that we'll be back. And in order for us to do that, we need to improve. And how do we need to improve? Like I just said, DeAndre Ayton, he's got to get stronger. Devin Booker's got to be more efficient. They just ran into a better team. They just ran into a better team, and Giannis was the difference in all of that because they didn't have anybody to contend with him. Did we bring Chris Paul back? And at what rate? Because we're talking about a guy who's 36 years old going on 37. So do we bring him back next season and at what rate? Because you got a guy who has been known to break down, but this is also the same guy who we're not in the position that we're in without him. We're not in the position that we're in without him. So do we bring him back next season? We got to find out what rate we're going to bring him back at. I think Phoenix is going to be around for a while too, but they got some holes. DeAndre Ayton, like I just said, he's got to get stronger. He's got to become a better offensive player. They got to shore up that bench. Bridges will get better. I think Book's going to have to come back better. Is Book this year's Jamal Murray? Is that who he is? Or is he a guy who next year we're going to see the same thing from him? Maybe not in the finals. We don't know if they get into the finals. But in the playoffs, are we going to see the same thing from this guy? Can he be that guy? So there's some question marks with them. The Milwaukee Bucks have been contenders over the last 3 years. You know, they lost to Toronto in the East Finals, and then they lost last year to Miami when Giannis got hurt. So they've always been contenders. So now they pushed through that. Now the question with them is, can they do it again? Because they're no longer contenders. They're champs now. So the question is can they do it again? Because my logic is that they're going to be around for a while. Giannis is 26. He'll be 27 in December. Middleton is 29. Jrue Holiday just turned 31. The moves that they make in the offseason, what are they going to do with Brook Lopez? What are they going to do with Bobby Portis? Because I don't think that they can run it back with this group. They finished 3rd in the East. That was before, and KD missed half the season. So And Joel Embiid missed a month. And they still finished third. So they have to improve next season. They got to improve that roster. So they're no longer contenders. They're a team now who we have to ask the question, can they do it again? And I'm interested to see how they bring it back next year. I'm very interested. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to take away from what they did this year. This was a year where can you hold up? And they held up. They absolutely held up. You couldn't hold up. We did. You not being able to hold up is not my problem. And that's not going to diminish the fact that we won the NBA championship. No way. So that's the season, guys. Now it's on to the draft, summer league, some football. That's what we're gonna do. So you'll be hearing from me real soon. It's good to see you. Till next time, take it light, but take it.